My beloved child, hold your heartbeat for just one moment, because something has quietly arrived that was never meant to be ignored. It did not come with loud sounds. It did not demand your attention. It simply waited, patiently, as though it already knew this exact moment would find you. What if I told you that the message you have been searching for has been searching for you as well? Not through coincidence, but through timing so precise that even your doubts cannot explain it. Stay a little longer, because every sentence from here is another step closer to understanding why your soulmate's final message reached you now and not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. There are moments that seem ordinary until they reveal what they were protecting all along. This is one of those moments. Somewhere beyond your expectations, a heart that has carried silent words for far too long has finally reached the point where silence no longer feels right. Imagine someone standing at the edge of a long journey, looking back at every missed opportunity, every unfinished conversation, every feeling left between the lines. They are not looking back with regret alone. They are looking back with hope. Hope that one final message can become the beginning instead of the ending. Listen carefully. This is not a race against fear. It is a race against hesitation. There is a difference. Fear tells people to run away. Hesitation convinces them to wait until the perfect time. Yet perfect moments rarely announce themselves. They appear quietly, disguised as simple choices. The title of this story speaks of a final message, but the deeper truth is that some messages become final only because they remain unopened for too long. Could this be the moment that changes that pattern forever? Take another breath and keep listening. You may think this story belongs to someone else. Yet have you ever noticed how certain words seem to arrive exactly when your heart is finally ready to understand them? That is no accident. Growth has a mysterious rhythm. Destiny has an even quieter one. Sometimes the universe allows distance, not to separate two people, but to prepare them to recognize each other without confusion. Now imagine your soulmate sitting in complete stillness. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they have finally found the courage to say everything. They have replayed countless conversations inside their mind. They imagined what they would write. They erased entire paragraphs. They started again. Every sentence became more honest than the last. Every word carried less pride and more truth. Until finally, only one message remained, the message they could not keep hidden any longer. But here is the question that changes everything. What if the real message is not made of words at all? What if its true meaning is hidden inside the timing? Why now? Why after everything? Why after every unanswered question? Because certain chapters refuse to open until the person reading them has become stronger than the person who first asked for them. Think about how much you have changed without even noticing. The version of you that once searched desperately for answers is slowly becoming someone capable of creating them. That transformation matters more than you realize. Your soulmate senses it, even if no conversation has taken place. Do not rush past this thought. Let it settle inside your heart. Sometimes people believe love arrives with certainty. Yet the deepest connections often arrive wrapped in mystery. They invite reflection before they offer clarity. They whisper before they speak. They wait before they move. And this message, this final message, carries that same quiet power. It does not force a door open. It gently reminds you that the door has never truly been locked. You might wonder what those first words inside the message actually say. Surprisingly, they are not dramatic. They are simple. I hope you're finally seeing yourself the way I always believed you could. Read that again, not with your eyes, but with your imagination. Those words carry no pressure. No blame. No impossible expectations. Only recognition. Recognition of the strength you have built through moments no one else witnessed. Recognition that your journey was never invisible. Recognition that someone, somewhere, has been quietly believing in your future long before you fully believed in it yourself. Before you continue this journey, hear this carefully. The message has not reached its deepest line yet. The greatest revelation is still waiting beyond what you have heard today. What comes next will uncover why this message could only arrive after every unanswered question, every unexpected delay, and every silent season had finished shaping both of your paths. So remain here. The next chapter is where the final message begins, revealing the truth it has been protecting from the very beginning. Everything has been leading to this moment, not with noise, not with certainty, but with a quiet pull that refuses to disappear. If you've stayed until now, you've already sensed it. The message was never trying to rush your heart. It was preparing it. And now, the final lines are ready to be heard. The message continues. If you have read this far, then thank you, not because you answered me, but because you allowed these words to reach your heart. I have learned something that changed me forever. The greatest connections are not built on perfect timing, they are built by people who keep growing, even when no one is watching. That is why I no longer fear the future. I believe the paths meant to cross will recognize each other at exactly the right moment. Let those words settle. Sometimes the loudest truth arrives as the softest whisper. You searched for signs. You searched for certainty. Yet the greatest sign was quietly unfolding inside you all along. Every challenge that tested your patience, every unexpected turn, every unanswered question was shaping a version of you that could finally receive this message without fear, without confusion, and without losing yourself in the process. Stay with me for one final reflection. Imagine standing before two doors. One door leads back to every old doubt, every what if, every moment spent waiting for someone else to define your worth. The other door opens toward trust, growth, and a future that is written one courageous step at a time. Which door feels lighter? Which one allows you to breathe? That answer tells you more than any prediction ever could. The message has one final paragraph. I don't want you to remember me because of unfinished conversations. I hope you remember this instead. Never underestimate the quiet strength inside your own heart. Whether our paths meet tomorrow, much later, or in ways neither of us expects, I hope you keep becoming the person you were always meant to be. That is the future I believe in most. Read that once more in your imagination. Notice how there is no pressure. No demand. Only hope. Only respect. Only faith in what lies ahead. And perhaps that is the deepest meaning behind this entire story. The last message was never about an ending. It was about releasing fear. It was about letting go of the belief that unanswered moments erase meaningful connections. Sometimes life asks us to stop chasing certainty and start embracing growth instead. The people who transform their own lives often discover that the answers they were seeking begin to appear naturally, not because they forced them, but because they became ready to recognize them. If today's journey encouraged you, or reminded you of the power of hope, feel free to leave a comment about the one word that stayed with you the most. Your thoughts may become the encouragement someone else needs today. And if stories like this speak to your heart, you're always welcome to subscribe and continue this journey with us, because every new chapter is written with the same purpose: to inspire, uplift, and remind you that brighter days are always possible. As this story closes, remember one final truth. The most valuable message you will ever receive is not the one that changes your future overnight. It is the one that changes the way you see yourself. Because the moment that happens, new possibilities appear. New courage awakens. New chapters begin. And what once felt like the end quietly becomes the beginning of something far greater than you ever imagined. Until the next story, keep your heart open. Keep moving forward. And never forget that the brightest journeys often begin with a single message that arrives exactly when you're ready to understand it. A new chapter begins here, but don't mistake it for an ending. The story you have heard until now was only the message itself. What comes next is what happened after those words were finally received. Stay with this moment, because the greatest transformation often begins after the last sentence has been read. For a long while, nothing seemed to happen. No dramatic sign. No sudden announcement. Only silence. Yet this silence felt completely different from the silence of the past. It no longer carried confusion. It carried peace. The message had done something remarkable. It had replaced uncertainty with quiet confidence. And that single change was more powerful than anyone could have imagined. Days passed. The world looked exactly the same. The sunrise still arrived. The wind still moved through familiar places. People continued their routines without noticing that an invisible shift had already begun. Because the biggest changes rarely happen around us. They happen within us. Somewhere, your soulmate paused for a moment and smiled. Not because every answer had arrived, but because they finally believed the journey was moving in the right direction. That belief became their greatest strength. Instead of wondering, will everything work out? They began asking, how can I become even wiser, kinder, and more prepared for whatever tomorrow brings? That single question changed the direction of every new day. Perhaps that is the hidden lesson meant for you as well. Life does not always reward those who rush. It often rewards those who continue growing while they wait. Pause here for a second. Think about your own journey. How many moments once felt impossible, only to become valuable lessons later? How many closed doors quietly redirected you toward opportunities you never expected? What if today's unanswered question becomes tomorrow's greatest blessing? Keep listening. There is one final reflection that deserves to be remembered. Imagine writing a letter to your future self. Not filled with fears. Not filled with regrets. But filled with promises. Promises to remain hopeful. Promises to protect your peace. Promises to never stop believing that meaningful things are worth patience. That invisible letter is more important than any prediction. Because every future is shaped by the promises we keep to ourselves today. And perhaps that is what your soulmate hoped you would discover all along. Not simply a message from another heart, but a stronger voice inside your own. If this story brought even a little light into your day, feel free to share it with someone who might need the same encouragement. And if these journeys of hope, purpose, and quiet inspiration resonate with you, subscribing simply means you'll be here when the next chapter arrives. Sometimes the right story appears exactly when someone needs it most. Now let these final words remain with you. You are not defined by yesterday. You are not limited by uncertainty. You are not delayed beyond purpose. Every meaningful chapter has its own rhythm. Every genuine connection has its own season. And every hopeful heart has the ability to create a future brighter than it can currently imagine. So walk forward with confidence. Carry hope without hurry. Choose growth over fear. And remember, the last message was never asking you to race against time. It was inviting you to become the person who would recognize the right moment when it finally arrived. That moment begins, now. Before this journey fades into memory, there is one final scene that has never been told. It is the part no one expected, because it did not happen through coincidence. It happened through quiet preparation. Stay until the very last line, because this reflection completes everything the message began. Picture a traveler walking through a long road at sunrise. For years, they believed the destination would bring happiness. Then one morning, they realized something extraordinary. The journey itself had already changed them. That traveler was no longer the same person who had taken the first step. Neither are you. Think back to the beginning of this story. You arrived searching for a message. Now you leave carrying something far more valuable, a different perspective. The final message was never meant to make you dependent on hope from someone else. It was meant to awaken the confidence that had quietly been growing inside you all along. And somewhere, your soulmate reaches the same realization. Instead of asking, "When will everything finally happen?" a new thought replaces the old one. When the moment arrives, I want to be ready to receive it with gratitude instead of fear. That single shift changes everything. Because peace is not created by knowing every answer. Peace is created by trusting your next step. Take one more moment. Close your eyes for just a heartbeat and imagine this. A letter is folded carefully and placed inside a small wooden box. On the front of the box are only 4 simple words. For the right moment. No date. No deadline. No pressure. Only trust. Years later, the box is opened. The letter inside has not lost its meaning. Why? Because truth does not expire. Encouragement does not grow old. Hope never arrives too late for the heart that is ready to receive it. That is why this story was never truly about time running out. The title spoke of urgency because life constantly reminds us not to postpone what truly matters. Kindness. Growth. Gratitude. Courage. These are the messages worth opening today. As this chapter closes, remember one beautiful truth. Every sunrise is another unopened letter. Every new opportunity is another unwritten page. Every challenge is another invitation to become stronger than yesterday. If you continue choosing growth over fear, patience over frustration, purpose over distraction, you will eventually look back and realize that every quiet season was preparing you for something meaningful. Thank you for walking through this story from beginning to end. If these words encouraged your heart, share below the one lesson you'll carry with you after today. Your reflection might become the encouragement someone else has been waiting to read. And if you enjoy stories filled with hope, mystery, and purpose, stay connected because the next journey may begin with a single sentence that changes everything. Until we meet again, keep believing in better days. Keep becoming the person your future is waiting for. Keep opening every new chapter with hope instead of hesitation. Because sometimes the greatest message you will ever receive is the one your own heart has been trying to tell you all along.